I've done some math, and I've been talking to you about 60 times in the 22 months I've been here. We've got a couple more months to go. I will move along to, Peggy and I will traipse out to Pasco, Washington, the Tri-Cities of Kennewick and Pasco and Richland, in the shadow of the, Peggy, I'm blanking, where were Hannaford, the Hannaford plutonium plant that I shared with you sort of feelings a while back of closing a circle. I've told you that my mother worked at Oak Ridge in the Manhattan Project. Well, Hannaford and Richland, Washington, was the West Coast edition of the war effort of the Manhattan Project that worked with plutonium to make the most destructive device created thus far by humanity. And in the Smokies around Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the uranium was used as the source of that. But anyway, I've come up onto 60 sermons that I've shared with you on a Sunday morning. Some have been pretty formal, some have been informal, some have been better than others. And I've tried to share you with my heart and my mind. But one of the things I want to make clear this morning is that we're talking about the same things. And so I need to explain myself a little bit. When I come to you and talk, I assume that you know something. And I might ought to check this assumption. I bring to you with the notion that humanity, you and I, and our ancestors are the ones who are describing the life we live. Let me elaborate that a little bit more. There is no story that has been etched in time that has been given humanity. We are story makers. We are the meaning creators. We are the creative mammal who has the tools, the opposing thumb, and the remembering brain, and the communication skills to try to explain the life we live, to try to explain reality. That's where our gods come from. That's where our understandings of salvation comes from. That's where our understandings of life come from. So let's be real clear. We are the shapers of our destiny by creating the stories that our lives, stories for our lives. Our ancestors did it. And we inherit those stories, whether they be from a good book, the ancient Jewish scriptures, whether it be for 1,800-year-old Christian letters from mainly Paul, whether it be 20 centuries of religious teachings from the Catholic Church, 500 years of the Protestant movement. That strain of information, that story comes to us. But it is not a story eternal. It is not a story written in the annals of the universe. It's from human beings engaging with their talents, the life they become aware of. The truth that is ours from our heritage is a recognition of our consciousness and us talking about it. So let's be clear about that. So when I come to you on Sunday morning, I don't have some great truth that I'm going to this private safe that I have to open up to bring a little light to you every Sunday morning. I'm trying to understand the stories we have inherited. I'm trying to create new stories as I look around at us. I'm trying to re-examine some of the assumptions of the stories that we carry forward. And some of those assumptions are pretty sad. For a long, long time, humanity in the Western world was influenced by the idea that creation had fallen. That we wayward mammals had rebelled against the authority of life. Had said to God, in those mythical stories, in those wonderful understandings of how things became the way they are, Adam and Eve rebelled in the Garden of Eden to say, no, I'm going to have that fruit. All that imagery. I'm going to be like the gods. Remember what the what the fruit was? See, that's what we forget sometimes. We would just forget we remember the rebellion and God being mad at us, but we don't remember what the rebellion was about. The tree contained the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Whoa, I like that. That story becomes a little bit more powerful. It becomes a little bit more realistic. It's just not a fairy tale. Somewhere, human beings ascribed and achieved the power of right and wrong, good and evil. Whoa. Before then, we were just sort of dumb mammals, just knocking around naked, going, oh, this tastes pretty good. How you doing over there? We became... So the story of Adam and Eve is not something to reject. It's not something to see as sort of fantasy. It's something to see as a psychological study of the human condition, and gives us some handle on how to understand ourselves, not based on the fact that it's a truth given by God or in some Bible or some holy writ. It's the truth is that it recognizes the human condition, that we become agents of good or evil, that we become the ones who discern what is right and what is good and what is wholesome and what is healthy and what is possible. So here we are as human beings, the beginning of June, middle of June nearly, in 2015 in Tampa, Florida, brought together by some kind of weird kind of chemistry that us here, the different roads we've traveled, we come looking in the same direction. I'm here to share what I think and what I feel about the human experience. Not that I'm any more knowledgeable or wiser or smarter than any of you, but to reflect back to you the stories that touch us, that lift us. This is a story that we live in. Now we have other stories too that we inherit. We have stories from the Middle East. We have Aladdin. We have the stories from the Black Forest. We have the Grimm brothers. We have stories from Orlando, from Walt Disney. We have fantasy makers. We have fables. We have myths that speak somewhat, somehow, to most of what the human experiences, human hungers, and human appetites are about. So we have fantasies. And those fantasies can be, I think, mental health trips. We can stay in the Garden of Eden. We can look at good and evil. And we can say, okay, I'm tired of choosing between good and evil because I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. Someone taught me to work hard, do a good job, be kind, and life would be okay. I've worked hard, I've been good, I've been kind, and life is not okay. What did I do wrong? Ooh, we lay these expectations on us. We put this power trip on our minds and hearts. We can be anything we can be if we are white males. No. Thank God we're expanding that fallacy to others. We can be anything we want to be. Maybe. Problem is, what do you want to be? I want to be a healthy and wholesome human being. Hopefully I got a few more years to still make that happen. Because I'm not healthy and I'm not wholesome. Now this is not good old Southern Protestant guilt here. This is reality. Because I can imagine myself much more healthier as a human being, spiritually and physically. And I can imagine myself more wholesome, my caring and my ability to value and make choices that are good for other people. So I've got a little bit more to do. But anyway, let's get back to the notion of 3 wishes, which is the title for the sermon this morning. Okay, let's check up my notes here. We are the makers of meaning. We're the crafters of truths. Truths are not written in the texture of the universe. Truths are what our understandings, our engagements, our bruises, our scars tell us about life. It's the understandings we come to as we embrace the reality of being. Truth is discerned in every generation, refined in every generation, rethought of every generation, changed every generation. So truth is not in some holy book. It's not in some great teacher's mind or heart. Truth is what we understand, we discover life to be in reality. It's like the answer mountain. Truth, the answer, is under construction. The truth is for us to develop, for us to craft, as we see what works in the world. And that's a value judgment. What works? If we want to be all white and powerful, then we got a lot of junk to do to get rid of these colored people, to get these inferior races, see? So there's some value judgments on this stuff. What is good, what is wholesome, what is sought for, what is desirable is for us to discern and for us to work for. So that's the truth that we need to apply to life. Truth is not one part of culture having too much and the other part of culture not having enough. There's a balance that needs to be sought somewhere. How do we work out the details of how that balance is realized? That's the ongoing challenge of humanity. That's the ongoing challenge of civilization. How do we be as people one to another with so much diversity in this organic whole that is life? How do we balance this? How do we understand it? How do we recognize and value the different parts? How do we understand toxicity and the cancers that come up in this body, this organism? How do we treat it? How do we respond to it? We do it by our searching our souls, our searching ourselves to see what life can be fully for all. It's nearly like we do a negative inventory. What am I missing? What do I think I need in my life? What do I feel I don't have enough of? And then we look at that and we get a want list for what we want and what we need to have. And then we sort of maybe describe what our growing edge needs to be about, what we need to be applying ourselves to, what we need to be working on having. Patience, endurance, broad vision, tolerance. See, we can stay in our stuckness. We can stay as we are and lament and grieve about how bad things are and what we need and what we hope for. Or we can sort of see what we need and hope for and go, now how can I work on getting that? What's it going to take for me? How am I going to change my ways of being so I can become this other thing? That's a nice challenge. So what would your 3 wishes be to get there? What would be your hope, your desire? What if there was someone from the Middle East, someone from the Black Forest, someone from the lagoon of Disney World who appeared in your morning mirror to say, you got 3 wishes today. Well, what will it be? How can I fix you up? What is your dearest hope? What is your greatest desire? Oh, God, I just fade and say, leave me alone. You want to answer those questions? You want to answer 3 wishes? How dare you? What would it be? What could it be that would be worthy of your life? More money? Health? Happiness? Ooh. Small universe Doak taken care of. What would those 3 wishes be? See the irony of the story, the stuckness of that image in human consciousness from times way back, alongside the stories of religious meaning and spiritual meaning, this fantasy world of what are you going to do with your 3 wishes? That sort of tells us that we have to be very careful as human beings about what we think and what we feel and what we hope for and what we desire. I'm not saying in a puritanical way. I'm not saying there's some you shouldn'ts in life. I'm just saying the discretion you apply to how you would answer what are your 3 wishes says a whole lot about how big a world you are and how big a character you are and how big a soul you have. Are our wishes for our common humanity? I want world peace. I want an end to starvation. And I want everybody to have meaning in their lives. Whoa. That might preach. Those 3 might work. Peace, sustaining life, and everybody be happy. What's going to take that to happen? Is it going to take magic? Or are we going to rely on magic? Well, we've done that so far, pretty much. We have Allah, the great one, the merciful one, who's going to take care of business as soon as all his infidels get in line and think this way. It's all going to be in heaven one day once the rapture comes and Jesus brings his own to his bosom. And you go on and you go on and you go on with the promises of those old stories. Well, I want to challenge you with a promise of a new story. You figure out what your three wishes you want your three wishes to be. You apply yourself at least 20 more minutes after today's service, okay? That's your assignment. Take it home. Drive it to work in the morning. What will they be? Can they be universal? Can they be comprehensive? Can they work? And then you go, how do we make that happen? How do we make that happen? There's no genie. There's no troll under the bridge. There's no Mr. Disney down in Frontierland. It's us, and it's our kids. And it's those black and white and yellow, those good guys and those bad guys who are going to craft the world to come. What's it going to look like? How much luggage are we going to take into it? How much of the junk of the conditioning that the past has told us that we are deficient? We are lacking. We are needful of this. You got all you need between your ears. You got all you need in your chest. You got all you need in your hands. We are given the ultimate tools to craft a life. The opposable thumb, the creative, imaginative mind. All we have to do is find the will to do it. All we have to do is find the vision to do it. All we have to do is dream big and work hard. Oh, sweet Doak, nice, cute. Good pep talk. Great coach. Now go with me tomorrow to the crap I got to live with. No, you go. Because you know what it is. And you know what you're capable of. If it defeats you, it's supposed to defeat you. Figure out what you're going to be on the other side of that. Figure out what you're going to be on the other side of that and see what your Easters will look like. Well, I'm on the way to dying, Doak. Well, who isn't? I've got post-traumatic stress syndrome. Who doesn't? So the time for being, pitiful, give yourself 2 hours of pity, okay? Get off the pity pot. And take time to figure out what you can do. Just one thing. I've been even trying it on myself, which is a little scary. Try one thing that will help you move toward a wish, a hope, a desire that you would really like in your life and in your world. You know what, guys? It's truly amazing. Jesus knew it, the Buddha knew it, Muhammad knew it. All the great teachers know it. Everybody who sits in front of the people who try to bring some ideas and some encouragement know it. This is a secret that you need to know. It's all a matter of us working on it up here. It's a part of us. We can imagine it. We can make it real. Is it real? Who cares? If you're imagining it and you're not certifiable and you're not hurting people and you're not drugged out, then hey, it's working. So life is what we make it. Be sure of the three wishes you seek, you ask for, and make sure you've got the guts and the fortitude to make them real, because that's what is our promise and that's what is our possibility. Thank you. You're kind and generous about that, so let's quit doing that because it makes me feel too good. And Mother said that was not a good thing. It's a mean world out there. A lot of ugliness, a lot of violence, a lot of stupidity. We go into it not as warriors, but as healers. We go into it as agents of love. And we're going to come back with bruises. We're going to come back with disappointments. We're going to come back as failures. But until we come back together as victors, life's not worth much anyway. So you can take the easy, you can take the certain and fool yourself. Or you can take the hard and the courageous and be real. Be good to yourselves. Be agents of love to transform the world as we transform ourselves.